Have you ever wondered what the world would look like without us? Picture it, the year 2050, a world that once thrived, now a desolate landscape. This isn't a scene from a dystopian novel, it's a snapshot of our potential future. The world, once a vibrant mosaic of cultures and societies, has been transformed into a haunting tableau of abandoned cities and decaying urban landscapes. It's a chilling testament to an unprecedented population decline that has cast an apocalyptic shadow over humankind. What caused this decline, you ask? The answer lies in a simple yet profound shift: plummeting birth rates. For decades, fewer babies meant fewer young adults, leading to fewer parents, and so the cycle continued, spiraling downward into a demographic abyss. Governments worldwide grappled with this crisis, offering generous financial incentives to families who chose to have more children. Yet these measures proved insufficient in the face of complex social and economic changes that shaped the mindset of younger generations. The allure of personal freedom, financial stability, and environmental concerns outweighed the traditional appeal of parenthood, leading to a world where the laughter of children became a distant memory. Schools closed their doors, playgrounds stood deserted, and the once bustling streets echoed with a silence that spoke volumes. This silence, however, was more than just the absence of sound. It was the echo of abandoned buildings and the relentless encroachment of nature reclaiming its territory. The aging population compounded the issues, with healthcare and social security systems collapsing under the weight of an inverted age pyramid. The world, once interconnected through technological advancements and social networks, sunk into a virtual silence. Communication networks lay dormant as the lack of young consumers and innovators turned the global economy into a lifeless husk. Businesses, industries, and trades were consumed by decay, leaving cities as silent witnesses to a glorious past, now forgotten. The once bustling streets are now silent, echoing the absence of humanity. The world in 2050 is not a place of triumph, but a monument to a lost civilization, a stark reminder of the impermanence of our existence. Imagine a world where the laughter of children is a distant memory. This is not a dystopian novel. It's a stark reality that shook the world by the year 2050. As the population dwindled, the social structures that once buzzed with life fell into an eerie quiet. Schools, once brimming with the energy of young minds, closed their doors, their hallways echoing with the silence of a generation lost. Playgrounds, once teeming with the joyful noise of play, stood deserted, the swings swaying in the wind, untouched and unused. The low birth rates left an indelible impact, not just on the economy, but on the very fabric of our societies. The joyful chatter of children playing, the excited screams from a game of tag, the simple pleasure of a child's innocent laughter, all faded into the annals of history. The cities, once vibrant and bustling, turned into ghost towns. The towering skyscrapers that once touched the sky now stood as grim reminders of a time gone by. The streets, once teeming with life, now lay empty, the only sound being the occasional rustle of wind-blown trash. In the face of this demographic despair, governments around the world fought a losing battle. They offered generous financial incentives to families choosing to have more children. Yet, these measures proved insufficient against the complex social and economic changes that shaped the mindset of the younger generations. The aging population exacerbated the issue, with healthcare and social security systems collapsing under the weight of an inverted age pyramid. The silence that now inhabited these once thriving places was not just the absence of sound. It was the absence of life, of vibrancy, of hope. The relentless force of nature began to reclaim these abandoned cities, creeping through the cracks in the concrete, wrapping its vines around the rusting metal, painting a picture of desolation and decay. Abandoned buildings and relentless nature now inhabit these once vibrant cities. What happens when our interconnected world becomes silent? Let's take a moment to ponder upon this unnerving question. The world of the mid-21st century was a vast web of communication, an interconnected network of ideas and information that spanned across the globe. This network, once vibrant and pulsating with life, fell eerily silent as the world's population declined. Imagine a global economy thriving on the vibrancy of young consumers and innovators. Now picture the same economy crumbling as the number of these essential players dwindles. This was the harsh reality of the world in the latter half of the 21st century. The absence of young creative minds led to a decline in innovation, and without innovation, industries began to decay. Businesses that once bustled with activity were now mere husks of their former selves. The once thriving industries that drove the global economy were now skeletal, their lifeblood drained away by the declining population. The world's economic engine was grinding to a halt, and with it, the once vibrant hum of commerce and industry fell into a chilling silence. Communication networks that once buzzed with the exchange of ideas, news, and entertainment were now silent. The lack of young consumers meant that these networks had no audience, no one to engage with their content. The once lively chatter of social media platforms was replaced by the deafening silence of digital desolation. The world had become a ghostly echo of its former self, a silent shell where the heartbeat of human civilization once throbbed. The cities, once the epicenters of human activity, were now deserted. These concrete jungles, once alive with the hustle and bustle of human life, now stood empty and silent. The cities stand as witnesses to a glorious past now forgotten. They are the silent reminders of a time when the world was full of life, a time when the human race was thriving and vibrant. Now, they are nothing but silent monuments to a bygone era. The world has fallen into a virtual silence, a silence that echoes the decline of human civilization. How does humanity fare when resources become scarce and the workforce dwindles? This is not a hypothetical question, but a harsh reality that the world has faced in the year of 2050. With a dwindling population, the once bustling human society found itself grappling with challenges that seemed insurmountable. Natural resources, the lifeblood of any civilization, began to run dry. The once abundant forests, minerals, and bodies of water dwindled to alarming levels, leaving behind a barren landscape. The lack of resources crippled industries, leading to a devastating domino effect on the economy. The world's economic backbone fractured under the weight of this resource scarcity. As resources became scarce, so did the workforce. Aging populations and low birth rates left the world with a significantly reduced labor force. The once vibrant and bustling cities, filled with the energy of the working populace, stood silent and empty. Industries struggled to maintain operations, and many ultimately succumbed to the inevitable. In a desperate bid to reverse the trend, humanity looked to the stars. Efforts were made to colonize other planets, to find a new home amongst the celestial bodies. But the challenges of space colonization proved to be a formidable hurdle. Despite technological advancements, humans were ill-equipped to contend with the harsh realities of space. The ambitious projects intended to usher in a new era of interstellar civilization ended in failure. Parallelly, attempts were made to find technological solutions for human reproduction to counter the declining birth rates. From artificial wombs to genetic engineering, scientists explored every possible avenue. But these attempts too fell short, unable to provide the much-needed boost to the human population. The world, once teeming with life and buzzing with human activity, was now a shadow of its former self. The challenges brought on by declining resources and a dwindling workforce were simply too great to overcome. The once thriving civilization was now on the brink of extinction. The Earth, once an oasis of life, has become a silent tomb floating in the vast cosmos, a solemn testament to a civilization that once was, now lost to the annals of time. What remains when the last breath of humanity echoes through an uninhabited world? As the echoes of laughter and chatter subsided, replaced by a deafening silence, the world bore witness to the final chapter of humanity. A tale marked by unprecedented population decline, an absence of innovation, and a lack of social resilience. The vibrant tapestry of cultures and societies that once pulsed with life stood still, replaced by a desolate panorama of abandoned cities and crumbling urban landscapes. Generations past had been driven by the insatiable thirst for progress, propelling us into an age of technological marvels. But as the population dwindled and youth became a rare sight, the gears of progress ground to a halt. The world, once interconnected by advanced technologies and social networks, plunged into a digital silence. Communication networks lay dormant, as the lack of young consumers and innovators transformed the global economy into a lifeless husk. As natural resources grew scarce and manpower diminished, human society faced insurmountable challenges. Efforts to colonize other planets and find technological solutions for human reproduction were too little, too late. Earth, once a lush oasis teeming with life, became a silent tomb floating in the vast cosmos. The population decline, coupled with the lack of innovation and social resilience, marked the somber end of humanity. The last sigh of our kind echoed through the empty streets, the deserted parks, the silent cities. It was a haunting reminder of a civilization that, despite its triumphs and achievements, succumbed to the shadow of its own extinction. An eternal silence now prevails, broken only by the rustling of leaves, the howling of the wind, and the occasional chirp of a solitary bird. The Earth, once a bustling hub of human activity, now stands as a solitary sphere, a mute testament to the rise and fall of an ambitious species. The Earth now stands as a solitary sphere, doomed to spin indefinitely in its own cosmic isolation,